Hey, welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard podcast. And today I want to get into the mid-season grades. It's just kind of hard. You got to figure out when you want to do it. With 17 games, so I let the Steelers get I let the Steelers get 10 games, 10 games in before I kind of you know graded these guys and try to just make it fair. So with that said, we're gonna kind of jump right into it. Um, let's see here. Here we go. Here we go. So Pittsburgh Steelers first 10 games were 6-4, first place in the AFC North. I hate to say it, but just got to keep it a buck. Um, we're holding on. We're holding on. Baltimore has kind of got themselves back together and got up off the mat. They're four. I think Baltimore is actually So they're a game behind, I think. So Baltimore is 5-5 right now. I think Lamar Jackson is still kind of going through some things, but I will say this. I will say this. I watched Baltimore game last week, and they're not right. Lamar Jackson is not right. I know he came off the hamstring injury. I think this week he hurt his ankle. So to really sit here and say that Baltimore is just gonna take over this division, it's really not fair to say because they're really not playing that good. The thing that I think everybody is kind of looking at is just the fact that Baltimore been through the stretch of the schedule that the Steelers are about to go through. Baltimore been through that. They've been through the Buffalo. I think they didn't play Kansas City. They ain't played they ain't played all their heart. They played Buffalo. So they've been through that stretch. And those teams kicked them in the head. Now the Steelers are about to go through that stretch. And now Baltimore is about to play the stretch that the Steelers kind of played. Getting Cleveland, getting the New York Jets, so that's what I really see where I think a lot of people are thinking that Baltimore can overtake the Steelers. And to be honest, the Steelers are doing their part to keep it close. And we'll just see how this ends up. But to say that Baltimore is this great team or is a team that that you should fear, that's kind of not true there. Because this Steeler team can easily go out and beat Baltimore twice. So it's not like they're about to play a team that they just know is no shot of beating them. So that's just calm down a little bit. But like I say, me personally, this team has got to show me. They have to show me. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt because we've been through this more than enough times. Like I say, if this is the first time this is happening, okay, I get it. But this is not. Just be honest with yourself and just look at what you see, and it would tell you that it's just some issues going on. But with that said, let's get right to it. Aaron Rodgers got the broken wrist. I believe that he's going to play, and just unless Tomlin goes in there and desperately tell those doctors, hey, I don't want this guy playing, and they rule him out. But my thing is with Aaron Rodgers, this is it for him. I always thought it might have been a possibility of him coming back, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think. Now I could see him if Minnesota called him and said, "Hey, We need you to come back for 1 year. That's going to be a possibility. That's definitely going to be a possibility. But other than that, I pretty much think this is going to be it for Rodgers. I was thinking that maybe if things went well with the Steelers, he would at least come back for one more year, be that bridge for whatever quarterback that the Steelers draft. But I don't know. I don't know. And like I say, it's hard to say because you really can't just say this season is over with. You just never know. Like I say, with this team, you don't know. You don't know. I mean, this team could get hot and win and never lose again. I mean, you just don't know right now. But you know, it is what it is. So with that said, right now, Rodgers, he's hitting like 66%, like 66% of his passes, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, which is a lot for him. That's the one thing Aaron Rodgers really had prided himself on. He doesn't really throw a lot of interceptions, but it's happening now, and it's understandable. A 97.7 rating, quarterback rating. You know, I thought at the beginning of the year he was playing pretty good. He was playing really good. Then you could see the tail off coming. Don't know. Is this because of the age? Is it because of his offense? It's just a lot of unknowns. I mean, to me personally, I don't believe that he has any faith in his offense. I think he don't like his offense, but I think he's been a good soldier to say all the right things. But I think deep down he hates it. I think he don't like the fact that they really didn't give him no other receiver, no other weapon. And I just think he's a frustrated SOB right now, to be honest. And that's just me. I could be dead wrong, but that's just what I see. I think he's very frustrated. And I think, and I know I catch a lot of flack for it, but I don't care. I think, like everybody else around here, until you get into the building, I think you kind of see the real Mike Tomlin. And yeah, great guy, great coach. I have no doubt about that. But I think he's starting to see the shortcomings that you really don't really get to see that until you're in the building with him. I think Rodgers has figured it all out now, and I think he's angry, man. He's angry, man, right now because you can see it on the field. Every time he misses a ball, every pass that he missed, you know, everybody say, well, he's out there bitching. But come on. And ain't none of us who's sitting back here talking behind a microphone really understands the concept of, I mean, you can have some football knowledge of what you think because most times route concepts are basically the same. So sometimes you can see, but to say that he's holding on to the ball too long or this or that, maybe guys are just not getting open. Maybe it's a situation where, hey, 1, 2, 3, when my back foot hit that ground, I'm letting this ball go, and I expect you to be here and there. You're not there. Now he's trying to make plays happen where before the older Rodgers could do that. This Rodgers can't do that anymore. I mean, this is a 4-time MVP, first ballot Hall of Famer. So I'm not going to sit there and just say, man, he's holding on to the ball too long, or he's doing that. Yeah, it does look like it does look like he's holding on to the ball too long, but it's just a lot of other things I think going on in his offense that it's not working out right. And like I say, you see it. You see it after every incompletion, after every drop. This guy is pissed, and he could. And to be fair, it could just be that situation where he's the old man get off my lawn guy. You know, that's probably part of it too. But with that said, I gave Rodgers a C+. I gave him a C plus for his play right now. I really could have gave him a B a few weeks ago, but he just seen. I mean, he's been going downhill. He's been going downhill the last few games, so I felt like he slid down to that C plus. Um, we'll see if he's going to play this week. I think he's going to definitely try. But the thing of it is, just do you trust him not to really get hit? Because you got to be able to protect yourself. I mean, you're going to get tackled. You're going to fall down. I mean, you want to put your hand down there and so I don't know. This is and to be honest, at this point, I'm kind of comfortable with Rudolph, but we'll see. The running backs. These guys, I really don't have no complaints about these guys, to be honest. I just feel like with this offense, and I don't understand it, they're just not getting the opportunities. They running the ball fairly well. They're not running behind the best offensive line, but they're making some plays. The Steelers kind of schemed some things with putting the extra linemen out there, and then you got Washington. So they schemed up some plays for these guys to kind of get them going. And I think for the most part they've gotten going, but I just think for some reason they just not getting the opportunities. So with Warren, he has 123 carries, 536 yards, a 4.4 average, 2 touchdowns, 25 receptions for another 219 yards, 8.8 average, and 2 more touchdowns. He's doing this thing. Like I say, I just think that he needs to get more than 10, 15 carries. Those carries, and I get it, probably from the Steelers standpoint. They don't want to give him really, really, truly make him a workhorse because he gets injured. He does get injured. And the thing with Warren, and I think it's just because he runs so hard and he puts so much energy in one run. I think when he started getting a lot of carries, he gets kind of sloppy with that ball and he coughs it up. So I just think, again, Mike Tomlin always say we're not going to live in our fears, but we live in our fears. And I think that's probably a lot to do with, he's not getting all these carries. Gainwell, again, not a big guy. So, he ain't going to really get the carries. Now, I think for the most part, he's being used the way that you pretty much expect. But, 61 carries, 294 yards, 4.0 average, 2 touchdowns. He's really coming up huge in the passing game. 36 receptions, 204 yards, a 5.7 average, 2 more touchdowns. And those touchdowns happened last week. So the grade for the running backs, I'm giving these guys a B. I think they're doing a good job. Like I say, my biggest issue is you got to give them opportunity. They're not getting the opportunities as much as I would like to see them. I don't know what's going on there, but if the Steelers really want to help this defense out and really help this offense also, you got to run these guys a little more. But like I say, I think I understand why they're not, or at least when I say that, I mean with Warren, while Warren's really not getting the carries, I just think the Steelers don't want him to wear down, and he does, and he has shown when he gets a lot of carries, he gets tired, and he coughs that ball up. Wide receivers. I'm going to tell you now, it's a total disappointment. And the one thing, and I made a comment about this, I've never, me personally, I'm just only going to talk about myself. DK Metcalf played all the way out in Seattle. So to be honest, I didn't watch a lot of Seattle Seahawks football games. And I just seen a lot of highlights, big guy, fast guy. And I always seen a lot of highlights of him. So now what I'm seeing from DK Metcalf, and this probably proves why that he was a second-round pick. He don't have the best hands. His hands are I'm not gonna give him the suspect role. His hands are better than suspect, but he's not an elite ball catcher. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of balls that he double catches. It's a lot of balls that he make contested um, catches because he's double catching them. A double catch is hit your hands and bounce off your hands and you catch it again. So a lot of times when that ball bounce out, he's letting DBs get their hands in there and either swatting them away or darn just taking the ball from them. So you got that going on. You got the fact that he's frustrated and he's ready to crash. He's ready. He's ready to crash. I think he's frustrated, especially at this point now. Teams are just saying, "Hey, we're not going to let this guy beat us, so we're just going to double team him. We're going to put a safety over top, and we're gonna not let him beat us because everybody else that they have, we don't think they can beat us. But if they beat us, hey, we'll live with that. But we're not going to let this guy beat us." Now, as far as his skills, he still has them. I don't think he's not on the decline or anything. He can still take a 6-yard slant and take it 80 and nobody can catch him. He still has that. And he actually showed that in the Minnesota game. So that part of it, he's still very explosive. But I just think with the offense and the lack of another receiver on the other side, it's just teams are taking him out. He's getting frustrated. And a lot of times when guys get frustrated, that hurts you catching the ball because you're not concentrating on really getting the ball. Then you think, well, I'm not getting the ball. Then you do get the ball, and it's just a mess. So Calvin Austin, I was expecting him to have a good year this year. And I just think he's a victim of the Steelers not getting a number 2 receiver. And they're trying to make him something that he's not. He's not a number 2. Calvin Austin is a number 3 receiver. He's a guy that I think where his talent is at, because he's fast as you know what. You line Calvin Austin up against a slot corner, slot safety, number 3 corner. That's where he can get down and work. Being a number 2 a number 2 receiver, that's not him. That's asking him to do a lot of other things and, go up against good corners, because if you got a team that doesn't travel, and corners don't travel, Calvin Austin is out there at sometimes being covered by a number 1 corner, and he's a number 3 receiver. So that doesn't work. So I think the Steelers in the long run is not doing him any favors. I'm quite sure he's pissed because he's going into his free agent year and he ain't doing nothing. So I just think at this point, these guys are very, very frustrated with this offense, frustrated with the fact that the Steelers can't bring in a decent receiver, and it's just going downhill. So with that said, I gave the receivers a C+. I'm not going to totally slam them. I just think they're a victim of their circumstances. I just think it's not a good offense that they're playing in. I'm quite sure George Pickens is over there laughing and hee-hawing that he's out of here. I just think the Pittsburgh Steelers have done a terrible job with these receivers. I think it shows even with Pickens. Now, granted, he didn't handle himself the correct way. He handled himself very immaturely, but Pickens seeing how guys ahead of him act to get out of here. And he was willing to do that to get the hell out of here because he knew this is not an offense that's going to benefit him and help him make the money that he wants to make. Because at the end of the day, folks, people can think what they want. Yeah, it's a team game, but it's also an individual game too. Guys want to get their numbers. They want to get paid. And they know coming here, you ain't getting paid. And I'm telling you, If DK Metcalf didn't have the contract that he has, this dude would really be crashing out. But at this point, he got his money, so he ain't tripping, but he's not happy. The tight ends. So the Steelers play this 3 tight end, probably 1999 year 2000 offense, outdated offense. I don't know. Like I say, yes, Washington is a weapon, but I'm taking my chances of you trying to go down the field with him majority of the time. He's going, yes, if you let him catch the ball in space and get going, he's a load to bring down. And he showed he showed that this last week. He showed what he could do when he gets a running start. He finally admit that he's 311, but he's heavier than that. He's bigger than 311. This dude is every bit of shoot. This dude is every bit of 320, 325. But anyway, Smith, for some reason, I think he's probably pouting and he lost it. He can't catch anything. Freiermuth is kind of coming back to life, but these are not the these are not the tight ends that teams fear. I mean, even though he haven't really had a great career. I mean, he started off good, but guys like Kyle Pitts, those guys are weapons. Those are guys that can catch a ball and on any given play can go 80. Warren, the rookie in Indianapolis, those guys are weapons. Those guys, you gotta have those guys on the field. You got a game plan for them. People are not game planning for the Pittsburgh Steelers tight ends. Yeah, we got to deal with them, but they're not game planning for them. But these other type McBride and Phoenix, in Arizona, you have to game plan for these guys because if you don't game plan for them, they're going to kill you. Pittsburgh Steelers tight ends are not that. But we constantly got them on the field, which to me I don't like and I don't understand it, but that's just his offense. So with that, I gave those guys a C+. Really no major complaints. They're doing what they're doing what they're asked to do. Smith is, believe it or not, he's leading everybody in receptions, 26 receptions, 163 yards, 6.3 average, 2 touchdowns. Freiermuth, 23 receptions, 279 yards, a 12.1 average, 3 touchdowns. And Washington, 18 receptions, 206 yards, 11.8 average, 1 touchdown. So they're producing. They're producing. Like my thing was, I was really excited about these 3 tight ends because I said, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers red zone offense should be great. You got these big bodies, you got an accurate quarterback. They're gonna really make some matchups down in the end, and they're kind of doing that. But I think, to me, I don't like the offense, and I just think we kind of got these guys on the field too much. But at this point, you don't have no choice because if you don't play them, then you don't have nobody out there. So, I gave those guys a C+. Offensive line, they have improved, definitely improved. Again, I just think I think with this offensive line, it's time for a new offensive line coach. I just think at this point, I think everybody's almost hit their talent level. So these are some good guys. You got some high draft picks. You got 2 number 1 draft picks. You got a number 2 pick on that line, a 4th round. Salmala, I really don't know what round he came in, but he's probably your best lineman. as far as interior linemen at this point. So you have some talent on this offensive line, and I think these guys they've hit their talent level. But what I want to see and what I've been preaching that I think it's time for a new offensive line coach, you got to get a guy in here that can raise these guys to another level. And I don't think Pete Myers is the offensive line coach that can raise these guys to the next level. Robert Jones is still a project. And to me, the Steelers, they got to make a decision on this guy. So why bring in the same coach and you see he's kind of stuck in mud? So I would rather bring in a new offensive line coach, see if he can do anything with this guy so I can really make a decision that, hey, it's this guy. He just can't play, and that's it. But I think because sometimes you get a new coach in there, he does things a little different. He can relate. Maybe he coaches different, and Jones can relate to him better because like I said, they got to make a decision on this guy because at this point, there's no way you can pay him his option. There's no way you can pay him that money. So we'll see. But right now, 19 sacks, rushing the ball. It comes out to 3.9 average, 88 yards a game. Passing, they're averaging about 198 yards a game. Again, can't, sacks are, and I know the offensive linemen hate this because a lot of times you get blamed for sacks that sometimes it's not your fault. Quarterback holds onto the ball. Aaron Rodgers have totally 100% been guilty of that. So a few of those sacks probably is really not the offensive line's fault, but you're going to get blamed for it. So it is what it is. So with the offensive line, I gave those guys a D plus. I think I just and the thing of it is, if you go back and you watch the all 22 and really watch the offensive line, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, folks. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And a lot of it has a lot of the success has came from adding the extra guy out there. You take that extra guy out, you see a lot. You just, like I say, you have to watch it. And there's a lot of leakage going on. Jones is getting beat like a drum almost every freaking play, but they've been able to scheme a lot of things and kind of scheme him out of the situation, I guess you could say, go away from him or just do different type plays that kind of hide him a little bit. I think Aaron Rodgers have totally 100% lost faith in him. He's looking right at that rush coming from his side. So with that said, I gave the offensive line a D plus. So the overall grade for half the season so far for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, I gave him a C. And like I say, I think a lot of it is it's just the offense. I don't like this offense. It's just lacking a couple of players. And I just think, and what's so frustrated about it is you have a different offensive coordinator. They could, I'm not going to say this would be the best offense in the league, but this offense could definitely be better than what it is just with a different offensive coordinator and a different philosophy. But we'll see how that goes this offseason. All right, moving to the defense, moving to the edges. TJ Watt, 38 tackles, 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 1 interception. Alex Highsmith, 24 tackles, 5.5 sacks, no interceptions. Nick Herbert, 22 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 1 interception. They've played solid. TJ Watt, nowhere, he's not playing up to that contract. One of the things the Steelers really should have looked at, just look at his brother. I mean, when his brother got to this age, he started falling apart, started having injuries, production kind of slowed down a little bit. So, I mean, granted, they're two different people, but they the same DNA, and it's happening. So when you add that up, you're talking what 12? What they got there? Yeah. So they got 17, 18 sacks. Myles Garrett has 15 sacks by himself. And our 3 guys and gave us 18. So that conversation is over as far as who's the best edge rusher in the NFL. It's not TJ Watt. So that's we don't even need to go that way. People don't need to get upset anymore when you hear that Myles Garrett is better, because he is. So that's been settled. It's done and over with. So our edges, I gave those guys a C plus. Like I say, and to be honest, TJ is bringing his grade down because I expect more out of him. I mean, not and I mean, yeah, you're getting paid. You're getting paid like you're one of the top edges in the league, which you should be. And he's not playing to that level. He's not playing to that level. So sometimes you got to hold guys accountable, for their actions. And right now, his actions is not playing at the level that we thought he would be playing at. Highsmith, it's frustrating with him because you'll get a good game from him. Then you look over there and he's on the sideline. And then he's missing a game. I truly believe this may be his last season in Pittsburgh. Herbert really needs to replace him. He'll definitely replace him next year. And if I was the Steelers, I would try to sign him today. A lot of times guys like him haven't made a lot of money, and you put a decent contract out there. I mean, you don't lowball the guy, but you put a decent contract out there, some decent upfront money. Usually you can get those guys to sign, because what they'll look at is, especially if you can get them like do a little 3-year deal or something like that, he's going to look at, I can make some better money, and then I'm still going to be young enough to get another big contract. So if I'm the Steelers, I try to get him a new deal today. I just watched the Cleveland Browns kind of did it with one of their defensive ends. Wright, I think his name is Wright. He would be a free agent going into next year. They gave him a $30 million contract. I think like $21 million guaranteed. I think if you go to Herbert with that type of deal, he's gonna take it. I mean, granted, you're gonna be thinking like, hey, I can hold out and get more, but that's money right now. He's a what, 4th round pick, so he hadn't made that money. So when you dangle a $15-20 million check in his face, you might get, he might sign that. So with that said, I gave our edges a C. Defensive tackles, beginning of the season, they were dead awful. Cam was out of shape. Harmon was hurt. Benton, they were kind of playing him out of position. He was getting pushed back into Peyton Wilson's and Patrick Queen's lap. He was in their lap saying what's up after every play. But as the season has went on, Cam has got himself back in shape, and he's doing Cam things again. Benton, especially when the Steelers kind of go to that 4-3, it's benefiting him. He's not really playing a true nose, so he ain't getting blown out of there and basically taking double teams from a center and the guard because he's just not big enough, strong enough. Harmon, he's just trying to, he's figuring things out. So right now, Cam, 41 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, 6 pass defense. That's him swatting balls down. 1 forced fumble. Benton, 29 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. So he's coming around. Harmon, 18 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defense. So these guys are really starting to come around. I really think the change that they have done to go to the 4-3 has helped them. Still kind of struggling with the run a little bit, but not as bad as it was at the beginning of the year. So I gave those guys a C. I think they've just been fair. They haven't been total god awful. They started off total god awful, but like I say, it was some circumstances behind that, and you had to be fair. You had to be fair, and I thought that was some of the things that was going on. So hopefully they can keep going, keep Cam fresh, and get ready to really get into the bulk of the schedule because they got some running teams that, you got Buffalo you're gonna have to deal with. They run the ball. You got the Ravens twice. Obviously, they run the ball. You got Detroit run the ball. So they're gonna get challenged here shortly. So we'll see what's going on. The linebackers again, and this kind of blew me away when I looked at these stats. Starting to play better. Again, I think that move when they kind of went to a 4-3 is definitely elevated Peyton Wilson's game. That's what he is. He's a 4-3 linebacker. He's not a 3-4 guy. For him to be more on the outside, that's him. He ain't built for that. He ain't built for that to be that inside linebacker. That ain't really his game. That ain't his game. And that's okay. Some guys are just not that physical like that, and he's kind of not that guy. But to use his speed, run down plays, covered, that's what he does. So with that, looking at the offensive linemen, the linebackers, Peyton Wilson, 84 tackles, 1 sack, 5 tackles for loss, 2 pass defense, 1 interception, and he's really, the last few weeks, have played very, very well. Patrick Queen, again, I think this has kind of benefited him when they kind of go to that 4-3 because you got to remember these two guys are not big guys. Now, back in the day when the Steelers had their inside linebackers, them was some 250, 260-pound guys. Kirtland was 300. But you remember Earl Holmes and those were just some bigger guys. So they were downhill guys. Woodley, Woodley kind of played outside, but they were some big guys. And these guys here are not like that. These are like some 230-pound type linebackers that, especially at the beginning of the year when the defensive line was struggling and they were getting blown up, it was making these guys get blown up. Holcomb, what's going on with Holcomb? He's sick. He has some type of sickness. I'm hoping he's okay, but this kind of blew me away when we kind of went over the stats. Um, Patrick Queen, 78 tackles, 1 sack, 5 tackles for loss, 4 pass defense, 1 forced fumble. Holcomb, which it seemed like he hadn't played forever, but when you go back and look at it, man, the time that he was in, he was a tackling machine. 25 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. So right now, Harrison has kind of been in there in his position. So we'll see if whatever this mysterious sickness was, he ain't got over it. Hope it's nothing. Praying for him that is nothing that was serious. But he's just had a rough go at it the last few years. But I gave those guys a C plus, and I think they kind of elevated their grade because at the beginning of the year they were god awful. They were terrible. You had that Patrick Queen is a bust. Let's trade him, and Wilson is busting out, and it was a lot of stuff going on. But I think these guys have played better the last few games. So I gave those guys a C plus. The corners. This room is really going through some changes here. So you started off with Ramsey as really your top corner, even though he was still kind of that match piece and kind of moving around, but he played corner and kind of found out that those days are kind of over for him, especially when you talk about guard number one corners. Porter, again, I give him all the credit. Played a good game this last game. Wasn't Mr. Handsies and holding and grabbing and clutching. Didn't play bad. Echols, he's basically your number one. He's basically your number one slot. Slay. And this is that Mike Tomlin BS. He's probably gonna put Slay back out there. Folks, Darius Slay is cooked. It's over for him. He's done. This is Pat P all over again. Every time he tackles somebody, he's hurt. He's cooked. Great career. He had a great career. Had made a couple of Pro Bowls. Won a Super Bowl last year. And made a good living for himself. But it's over, man. But not to say he can't just be. He can't. I guess you could say he can definitely help, and I would hope that at some point, he just say, hey, I'm here to help these guys, whatever you need me to do, this and that. But to be starting, no. So we'll see how much he plays. Steelers did sign Ashanti Samuel, which obviously if he's back 100% and he's good to go, he's going to be that other starter on the other side of Porter. But it's a good signing. It was a good signing to bring him in, but that kid has he has a long way to go. I mean, first he got to get himself in shape, because I think last year he only played like 4 games before he got hurt, and he hadn't played since. He had spinal fusion surgery. So yeah, he even got cleared, but man, that's a tough injury. I mean, like I say, physically he may be fine, especially as just everyday life, but almost every play in the NFL is a car wreck. Every 30 seconds, granted, for a corner is not as bad because you're not in that action every play, but when you are in a play, it's a car wreck. So the Steelers got to see, and Samuels had to see, mentally, is he really want to do this? I mean, you can't have him out there in a couple of weeks. You going up against Derrick Henry. So if he end up coming back, do you make a business decision? And I'm not going to tackle this guy. It's just. I just think right now with him, obviously he got to get himself in shape, but it's going to have to be a mental hurdle that he's going to have to get over, because he could easily, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I'm not wishing for it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got out there and played in the game, and then next thing you know, you hear he ain't left the team, he's retired. I mean, that's the type of injury that he had. He's young. So that definitely helps out. But anyway, when you look at the corners stats, Echols leads the way with 35 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 3 pass defense, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. His tackles are, especially for him, his tackles are going to be a little elevated because he's a slot corner. So slot corner is probably like one of the toughest positions because you're in the mix, and you're not as big as all the other guys is in the mix. So you're in running plays, you're in a lot of stuff going on. So those slot corners, they're going to have a lot of tackles. Darius Slay, he had 35 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 3 pass defense, 1 tackle for loss. Again, I almost could say his numbers are that high because people were throwing the ball at him. So he was tackling a lot. So we'll see what his deal is. Then on the flip side, you see Porter. Porter don't get challenged as much, so his numbers are not that great as far as tackling, but he has 25 tackles, 1 sack, 11 pass defense, and 1 interception. So he's having a solid year. I think he needs to invest in a jugs machine, because he probably could have had maybe 2 more interceptions for sure. But I gave the corners a C. Again, haven't been terrible, haven't been special, been okay, and I gave those guys a C. Safeties. Jalen Ramsey is a full-time free safety now. So I mean, it's working out. He's bringing definitely bringing a physicality to the back half of the back part of that defense. It seemed like he made that adjustment, no problem. Elliott, hopefully we can. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's coming back or not. But who's not pictured on here is Duggins, in which he stepped right in, been a major player for them. Haven't really missed a step as far as, with the Steelers. So that's a good thing. So when you look at the stats, you got Ramsey leading the way, 47 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 6 pass defense, 1 interceptions, 2 sacks. You got Elliott, which missed the last couple of games, but he had 38 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass defense, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. And believe it or not, Chuck Clark, 28 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 pass defense, 1 forced fumble. But he's really relegated to a backup at this point. And like I said, Duggins is the starter. It's gonna be very interesting what the Steelers are going to do if Elliott comes back. But we'll see how that goes. So I gave those guys a B. I think the safety position is probably one of the strongest positions on the team right now, and I gave those guys a B. So the defensive total grade, overall grade is a C. Again, and I said it before, this team is very mid. This team is very mid. It can go either way. It can skyrocket up or it can skyrocket down. But they've played okay, and honestly, they're kind of starting to dig themselves out of a hole. But it's kind of weird because when you see this next thing that's coming up, you're gonna be kind of shocked. So the special teams, we can go over this real quick. Special teams, the Boz is the Boz. 19 to 22 in field goals for 86.4%. A long of 60 yards, 25 for 25, extra points, 100%. He's one of their best weapons. He's probably one of the best weapons in the NFL. So it's not too much more you can say about the Boz. Corliss Waitman, 35 punts, 1,656 yards, a 47.3 average, a long of 67. Doing great, with being the holder. The punt, the kickoff game is okay. Punt is okay. Williams, I know he's probably in concussion protocol, so we'll see what his deal is. I actually thought he kind of brought some excitement. I actually thought that it was time. His time was coming to break one, but we'll see what happened there. So special teams, I gave special teams an A-. They're doing their thing and no complaints there. Now we get to the coaching, and this here's what it is, folks. Arthur Smith, I hate our offense. Arthur Smith, I hate your offense. But at this point, it is what it is. So just going off the numbers, the Steelers ranked 27th in total offense. They ranked 22nd in pass offense, and they ranked 28th in rushing offense. So we're in the lower third in all categories there. So that said, I gave Arthur Smith a D- because I feel like this offense is not creative. I really can't blame him for it. I don't think you need another receiver in there. So that's really not an Arthur Smith problem. It's that's a Tomlin in the front office problem. But did Arthur Smith stand on a table and rant and rave that, hey, I need another receiver? Or did he think that, hey, we don't need another receiver. I got these tight ends, and this is my offense. And my offense really doesn't predicate that we need another receiver. So I don't know. But if he did that, he really has to go. So I ain't gonna be the first, but I 100%, even though I know the Rooneys won't do it. If I was running the Pittsburgh Steelers, he would be gone. He'll be out of there as soon as that clock hit 0 for the Steelers' last game. His access card would be access denied. Terrell Austin, again, defensive coordinator, him and Tomlin, they're the brains behind this defense. When you look at their numbers, they're 27th in total defense, 32nd, which is only 32 teams in the NFL. They're 32nd in pass defense, and they're 13th in rush defense. So that's coming up. They're coming up. I mean, like I say, they were god awful at the beginning of the year. I gave the defense a D+. And it's weird because you look at the way the defense is playing, and I gave them a C, but the coaching is a D+. And I just think it's starting to elevate, but I still think I got issues with some of the scheme, but I will say, at least on the defensive side, because to me the defensive grade has actually came up, because to me those guys were F. I mean they were terrible. So they're starting to come up, and I will have to say, with them starting to do different things and kind of playing that 4-3, so they're doing different things to kind of get better. And I see the defense right now. I see the defense elevating. I see they are definitely elevating. I will say that it's at least the defense. I would say it seemed like it's a light at the end of their tunnel. Mike Tomlin, you're 6-4. You're in first place in the AFC North, but you're holding on, brother. You're holding on. Will you let it slip away? Don't know. Or will you keep it going? Who knows? I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, he's maintaining, and I'm still going to get a coach in the D, because at the end of the day, that's your defensive coordinator, that's your offensive coordinator. So coaching it overall right now, I'm giving them a D. But I see improvement. I have to say, especially on the defensive side, I see an improvement. So that's my mid-season grades. Not really great for the most part with the players. They're pretty much mid. Pretty much mid. It wasn't no position that was just total god awful. But with that said, that's it. Talk to you guys a little later. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll watch the game this weekend and see how it goes. You can join us on the 2-minute warning post game show over there on the know it alls. We're right there at the 2-minute warning of the game, so we will be discussing that. So until then, take care, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye bye.